Hi, this is Betty, and we start today back on Chapter 4 of Through the Mist. Ava's estate is about 10 miles out of town. It's a beautiful plantation with a pond and lots of farmland. Red is driving up the road that leads to the house when the surroundings bring back the memories of the rest of the story his great-grandfather told him. There were rocking chairs now where he was told the old swing once was on this very estate. He remembered asking his great-grandfather what happened to the young lady named Jean after her father, Archibald, died. One afternoon, many years ago, while the finishing touches of this estate was going on, Ava's great-great-grandmother, Jean, was sitting in the swing on the porch. Malcolm McLean, who was Neil McLean's son, came by to check on the family to make sure they were all doing okay. Malcolm walked up on the porch and sat down to visit with Jean. "Malcolm, it's so good to have you come by to see me. How have you been? Father said that you had been sick. Are you doing better?" Malcolm was concerned because his father knew she wasn't getting better. "The doctor told me that I don't have long to live. I want you to take care of yourself and keep a close check on my family from time to time. Why didn't your father come? I would have liked to have seen him one more time before I go to be with Jesus," Jean so sweetly tells Malcolm. "Father hurt his back while working in the fields last week. I told him that I would come for him. You know how stubborn he is. He has no business in the fields doing anything," he told her. "Yes, that old goat. You tell him that I still love him. You also tell him that he never gave me that last dance that night at Rosalie. You also tell him I'll be waiting for him on the other side of the river to take his hand when he is ready to come over." Jean's face filled with tears, wishing she had one last time with him. "Why didn't you two get married?" Malcolm pulls her close to him in the swing, where he has joined her. "Father told me the night after the party that your father was a distant cousin and that I could not date him," Jean tells Malcolm. Jean tells him about the family problems that have been going on since her father's death. Jean tells Malcolm about her and Charlie at the funeral seeing Argyle MacDonald through the mist in the distance. Charlie tells Jean to come on and don't look back again. Fearing for her life, she told Charlie, "It's Argyle. Maybe he's here to kill us." Jean was frightened. "No, be calm. Keep looking forward toward the wagon," Charlie says. "Mr. McLean said he would take care of it, and he will." Charlie gets Jean into the wagon, then looks back one more time to see Argyle and Neil arguing. Charlie turns back to Jean and says, "It's okay. Mr. McLean is here. Let's go." Charlie drives the wagon back towards the house, never to look back again. "I told you to leave them alone. You had to do this, didn't you?" Neil says in anger. "You don't understand. It was an accident. Archibald fought me to his own death. He was going to kill me if I didn't defend myself. I was going to marry his daughter, get his money, land, and everything." Argyle was nervously backing up against the tree. "But your greed got in the way, didn't it? Things weren't moving as fast. So you thought you would get his money, then move on since you knew I was in town and watching you." Neil is close to Argyle, pinning him against the tree. "Well, it's time you leave. Now, tonight, and don't come back." I know you are an evil man. I don't think you meant to kill Archibald. He was too good of a man. You had become friends. It will be no accident if I take care of you if you don't leave. Do you understand? I mean tonight. Okay, tonight. Argyle coughs and catches his breath after Neil held his hand around his neck long enough to make his point. Jean tells Malcolm that his father left after that night and returned to Scotland. She was married to someone else with 3 children by the time he returned. I think we would have married anyway if he would have stayed, she tells him. I promise I will keep watch over you and your family and try to make sure your descendants are taken care of also. I don't believe the hatred really died with Argyle MacDonald. According to what father has told me. Well, what about the dance my father was supposed to give you that night? You are still a beautiful lady, and I can only imagine how lovely you were that night. Well, what about the dance? Do you feel strong enough? You were promised. You know I can't dance now. You do have charm, and I can see that your father raised you up right, Jean gracefully declines. I never got over Dad's death, you know. That Argyle never showed his face again in this town. I still have the feeling that he will still cause my family trouble. Father told you not to worry then, and I'm telling you not to worry now. Malcolm tried to convince her not to worry. Why do I get the feeling that you aren't telling me everything? Jean asked. Maybe because I'm not. Some things are better left alone, he replied. Malcolm holds Jean in his arms while they swing and they both sing together an old familiar Scottish ballad. Archibald, old Archibald, I hear the bagpipes play. The waters round the Isles of Jure are calling you today. Jean told Malcolm that day he looked and acted just like his father did when he was a young man. Malcolm had been able to turn the clocks back for her, if for only one afternoon. That was the last that Malcolm saw of Jean. It would also be the last generation to help the Baudet family until now. This time it was Red's turn to pick up the pieces to try and put a life back together again. Well, I hope it's getting interesting for you now. The whole song, Archibald, is on my YouTube channel. Also, I'm going to continue with this and have something else up my sleeve. Further on out, I don't know, a year from now, hopefully before then, but my grandson is working on kind of like a narrative type, gaming type situation that this book might be able to be turned into. I don't know, we'll see. So check me out again and start subscribing and liking and commenting. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.